So Jalen Brunson is on the Fanatics Fest, and he gets asked a question. But he gets asked a question if he pitched to LeBron James for him to come to the New York Knicks. And Jalen Brunson, in my opinion, embarrasses LeBron James because he shows exactly how that whole process should go. And he is not one of those guys that's just going to pitch to somebody and ask somebody, come over and team up with me so we can win some championships.
Jalen Brunson just completely embarrassed LeBron James on a live stage, and nobody is talking about how deeply it cuts. While corporate media continues to praise the era of superstar-player collusion, the newly crowned champion just exposed the absolute weakness of that entire approach. We need to dissect this beautiful, live television destruction right now. Drop your thoughts down in the comment section right now. Do you prefer the old-school competitive mindset of Jalen Brunson, or are you still defending the super team era that
Jalen Brunson was just asked if he tried to recruit LeBron James to New York. And his response? Absolute gold. He basically said, "Look, I'm not pitching to anyone. That's the front office's job." That single comment says everything about him. Brunson isn't the type to team up with superstars just to chase ring culture. He doesn't want to join forces. He wants to beat the competition.
We need to talk about what took place at Fanatics Fest because it was a masterclass in how a real leader carries himself. Jalen Brunson was up on the stage sitting on a panel with Shannon Sharpe and Chad Ochocinco, sitting there with a literal cast on his hand and he was asked about his immediate future. Ochocinco looked at him and asked a very direct question regarding a certain high-profile superstar who was sitting out there in free agency. He specifically wanted to know if Brunson had picked up his phone to pitch this free agent on coming to the New York Knicks to form a shiny new...
You back in the gym already. The thought process of wanting to repeat again. Obviously, the pieces you guys have right now are excellent, right? But you can always add more. Right. You know, it's like cooking food. Ain't nothing wrong with adding a little seasoning to it. Did you pitch to a certain player who's in free agency right now who has yet to decide where he wants to go to probably come to New York? I'm just asking.
You guys want to know? You guys want to know? All right.
Yeah.
You guys are gonna love me for this. I got asked this question recently, and I answered it perfectly, truthfully. My job is to go out there, dribble the ball, put the ball in the hoop, try and play a little defense. There's people who are above me that make jobs who determine who's on the team and who's not. So I leave that.
The response from Brunson was so beautifully simple, yet it completely pulverized the entire foundation of modern player empowerment. He looked out at the crowd, smirked, and told them that they were going to love his answer. He stated perfectly and truthfully that his exact job is to go out on the floor, dribble the basketball, put the ball into the hoop, and attempt to play a little bit of defense. He made it clear that there are executives who sit entirely above him in the organizational hierarchy, whose actual job is to determine who is on the roster and who is not. Because of that basic division of labor, he leaves the recruiting pitches entirely to the front office. That response is absolute, unadulterated perfection. It is a massive, hilarious contrast to the standard operating procedure we have been forced to witness for the last decade and a half. For 15 years, the league has been entirely dictated by top-tier superstars acting like middle school children on a playground recess court, calling up their best friends during the summer to figure out which franchise they can collectively hijack next. But here you have the premier guard of the basketball world, fresh off leading his franchise to a championship as the undisputed main option, completely rejecting the invitation to play.
Honestly, what a perfect response. Even Anthony Edwards pointed it out. He said if you're looking for the next face of the NBA, it might as well be Jalen Brunson. To be that guy, you need a ring as the main leader, and Brunson just delivered. If he's leading the league now, I'm all for it. Feels like the NBA is finally shifting away from super teams, team-ups, and all the nonsense LeBron brought in. Once that era is gone, so is that weak approach. Brunson's message wasn't just a simple quote. It hit extremely deep.
incredibly deep. He is making it known to the entire world that he is not a member of the text chain generation. He isn't interested in assembling a traveling circus of aging stars just to secure an easy path to a championship trophy. He operates with an old-school, highly competitive mindset that dictates you go directly through your competition rather than inviting them over to share a locker room. This is the exact reason why true basketball purists hold an immense amount of respect for what Brunson is building in New York. This is an individual who already proved his corporate loyalty by willingly turning down a maximum contract extension, deliberately leaving millions of dollars on the table so that the front office would possess the precise financial flexibility required to build a complete, well-rounded roster around his talents. He understood the structural limitations imposed by the modern salary cap system and chose to prioritize long-term organizational success over personal financial greed. Let's look at the historical data to see how incredibly rare that choice truly is. When has LeBron James ever willingly sacrificed individual financial compensation during his prime years just to help an organization construct a better supporting cast? The historical record shows he did it exactly once, back in 2010 when he moved to the Miami Heat, and he only executed that move because it was a mathematical necessity to ensure that both Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh could fit under the salary cap structure simultaneously. Outside of that highly calculated three-way collusion window, he has consistently demanded every single penny of maximum contract value, completely regardless of how much it handcuffed his front office's ability to sign quality depth. The contrast between these two philosophies is massive. The LeBron James approach has always been about shifting the blame entirely onto the front office whenever the roster lacks depth, completely ignoring the reality that his own maximum salary slots and constant demands for specific trades are the direct cause of the financial ruin. We saw it in Cleveland, we saw it in Miami, we saw it during his second Cleveland stint, and we watched it unfold in spectacular fashion in Los Angeles. The moment things become difficult, the strategy involves looking around for a new superstar friend to rescue the situation.
But the basketball landscape is undergoing a massive, highly visible shift, and Jalen Brunson is at the absolute forefront of this cultural correction. By standing on a live stage and publicly refusing to participate in player recruitment, he is signaling the slow, painful death of the player collusion era. The generation of athletes currently taking control of the league, guys like Brunson and Victor Wembanyama, are displaying a level of competitive honor and structural integrity that has been completely absent from the sport since 2010. They don't want to meet up with their friends in the off-season to discuss how they can bypass the grind. They want to train with their own teams, run the system dictated by their coaches, and destroy whoever steps onto the court opposite them. The corporate media is absolutely terrified of this shift, because their entire 24-hour news cycle is built around projecting where superstar players will force trades next. They want the drama. They want the backstage rumors. They want the constant speculation about whether a star is unhappy with his supporting cast. So when Chad Ochocinco throws a softball question designed to generate a viral headline about the Knicks pursuing a major free agent, they expect the star player to lean into the drama. Instead, Brunson gave them a heavy dose of professional reality, essentially telling the entire room that his only concern is executing his job on the hardwood. This return to professionalism is the greatest thing that could possibly happen to the sport. By the time the older generation of super team orchestrators finally exits the league for good, their toxic, weak-minded approach to competition is going to leave right along with them. The entire circus of taking mid-season vacations, forcing multiplayer trades for aging friends, and dictating front office hires is going to look like a bizarre historical anomaly compared to the structural stability we are seeing from modern contenders. Let's look at the financial landscape to understand exactly why Brunson's approach is so devastatingly effective. Under the new collective bargaining agreement rules, franchises are facing severe operational penalties if they cross the second tax apron. If a superstar player insists on collecting a maximum salary while simultaneously demanding that the front office trade for another max contract player, the team is instantly stripped of their mid-level exceptions. Their draft picks become frozen at the end of the first round,
and they lose the ability to take back more salary in trades. In the modern league, the super team model is a statistical death sentence for a franchise's depth. The teams that are experiencing sustained success are the ones operating with internal discipline. They are paying their main star, but they are surrounding that star with highly productive, versatile role players who understand their defensive assignments and execute their specific roles without demanding a massive media spotlight. The New York Knicks have successfully built a championship roster by utilizing this exact framework, and it only functions because their best player cares infinitely more about winning basketball games than projecting an image of executive power. It is incredibly refreshing to watch a superstar player willingly step back and allow the front office to execute their jobs without public interference. For the past 15 years, general managers across the league have been forced to operate under a constant state of terror, knowing that if they didn't immediately acquiesce to the specific trade demands of their star player, that star would immediately utilize his media connections to leak trade rumors and destabilize the locker room. LeBron James brought that specific brand of organizational sabotage into the NBA, and it has poisoned multiple franchises over the course of his 20-year career. There are well-documented historical accounts proving that conversations between James and Dwayne Wade regarding a potential future pairing were already taking place as early as 2006, right in the middle of their initial rookie contract extensions. They were actively planning how to reshape the competitive balance of the league behind closed doors, while their respective franchises were investing millions of dollars to build around them. That level of calculated manipulation set a terrible precedent for the entire generation of athletes that followed them, leading to a decade of empty corporate championships won by pre-assembled rosters that possessed zero authentic connection to the cities they represented. But Jalen Brunson is a New York player through and through. He embodies the exact grit, professionalism, and competitive discipline that the city has desperately craved for decades. He doesn't need to hold a televised special to announce his professional decisions.
He doesn't need to post cryptic song lyrics on his Instagram account to signal frustration with his teammates. He goes to the training facility, works through a hand injury, lifts weights, and allows the basketball executives to handle the logistical details of roster construction. The media figures who are attempting to crown a new face of the league need to stop looking at social media follower counts and start analyzing the actual cultural impact of these athletes. If the sport is going to recover its traditional viewership and restore its competitive credibility, it needs leaders who respect the sanctity of competition. Anthony Edwards recently noted that to truly become the definitive face of the sport, an individual needs to secure a championship as the primary option. Jalen Brunson has officially checked that box, and he did it without resorting to a single shortcut. If the future of professional basketball belongs to individuals who possess this exact level of competitive honor, then the entire sport is in a phenomenal position. We are finally moving away from the era of manufactured drama and returning to a landscape where games are decided by system execution, defensive chemistry, and individual accountability. The superstars who spent their careers jumping from one favorable situation to another are watching their influence completely evaporate in real time, because the modern game has no tolerance for roster depth destruction. Jalen Brunson's brilliant live television response wasn't just a polite refusal to answer a recruiting question. It was a definitive, public rejection of the entire modern superstar playbook. He showed the entire world that a real champion doesn't need to act like an executive, doesn't need to beg rival players for help, and doesn't need to participate in the corporate media circus. He simply shows up, puts the ball in the basket, and allows his production to do the talking. The era of superstar collusion is officially dead, and we have Jalen Brunson to thank for delivering the final, embarrassing blow on live television. The era of superstars acting as corporate general managers is officially dead, and Jalen Brunson just exposed how weak that playbook truly was. Let me know down in the comments if you think more players need to adopt this exact competitive. If you appreciate honest sports breakdowns without the corporate bias, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe right now. See y'all next time.